Good afternoon. We're here to talk about round 2 of the WNBA playoffs. First game of the night, first game of the afternoon, Suns versus the Mercury. First, let me say that I've got a bone to pick with Lisa Borders. Second round of the playoffs, one and done, the most exciting games in the WNBA schedule all year, and you put it on the first Sunday of the NFL season. That's dense. That's a boneheaded decision that I don't understand why the league makes.
I have to agree. I'll give myself the excuse. I didn't even know it was the first. I've been so focused on WNBA. I legitimately didn't know. But as somebody who is on,
If you're a Vikings fan, the Vikings are terrible.
Okay, how was that? How was your Patriots first game? Let's not get into that. But I will say this: that yeah, I completely agree. That's a stupid decision. Another one of these things that I just feel the league simple tweaks that professional sports leagues need to take into account and take care of, that the WNBA really needs to focus on in a more professional settings. That's that. But let's move on to the game. Isaac, neither of us. I mean, there's a lot of talk about this, but I didn't see Pheonix Mercury getting to this game.
Yeah, right.
I didn't think, especially if you tell me.
In our last picks.
Yeah, well, we 0-2. We were 0-2. And I didn't think Mercury really had a chance in that game.
I especially didn't think the Mercury were going to have a chance in this game, especially if Diana Taurasi did not play her best, which she did not.
Exactly. There was key players on the Mercury who didn't step up, and other players, role players, or players that a lot of people don't know. Yvonne Turner, most people do not know her name if you're not, someone who pays attention to the league and pays attention specifically to the Mercury. You probably don't know her. She had a great game. Leilani Mitchell gets the start, takes over, and, really solidified really capping what she's had an amazing past, couple weeks, month maybe. Playing amazing. Really great.
No, I don't think, especially after what happened last year where they ran through the first two rounds, I don't think it should be as surprising to us as it was that this team is more than DT and Brittany Griner.
I agree. I think the interesting part is that, I mean, you say that, and I completely agree with that statement, but in the same respect, they're such a different Mercury team. I don't look at them with that same regard. When I first became a diehard WNBA fan, it was very much so in my mind the Lynx versus the Mercury. And these two teams jockeying for position on the top of the WNBA Mount Olympus. And I've kind of seen the Mercury slowly fall down and the Lynx stay there, jockeying for position, because I don't think anybody fully ever takes it.
You'll have your turn. It's not at the Lynx.
But no, I've seen the Mercury just continually fall, and they're still on that on the mountain compared to the Atlanta Dream, who are just trying to get a foothold. But
boy, it's a bad day when you stop being compared to the Lynx and start being compared to the Atlanta Dream.
Real talk. But no, I mean, they've had a couple people leave. They've had some retirement, some family matters, things like that. For whatever it is, they're not even the same roster, and I didn't think they still had that fight, especially considering I have not seen that flame in DT recently, where she's just beasting on fools. We saw it a little bit at first when Brittany Griner got injured. Haven't seen it much since. Let's flip the coin on this. The Connecticut Sun. They're young. I picked them to be the dark horse last year. They kind of disappointed. They showed up a couple times. This year I picked them again, and I picked Kurt Miller to be Coach of the Year, and it looks like my pick is coming to fruition. I picked them early on in most of the season as the number 2 team in the league.
That was not hot.
They stuttered a little bit right before the playoffs, and now we're sitting here, and they're still averaging 86 points a game, 36 rebounds, and 17.8 assists. That's some great stats.
So on Connecticut, the biggest story, obviously, Jonquil Jones. She's really established herself as a star. She's, everybody in the league is saying she's incredible, that she's going to be a perennial MVP candidate, maybe not a winner, but really top-of-the-line player. And she's going against Brittany Griner, an established top-line MVP candidate. That is a hell of a competition down low for boards, for the paint. Break it down.
The matchup is going to be great. Jonquel's a little bit undersized to take her on, but they both have been playing this style of ball that really is fluid throughout the whole side of the court. They can go outside the arc if they need to. They can do a baseline pull away. Jonquel is going to do a lot of things that I think Brianna Stewart did really well in, which was taking advantage of their multi-dimensional offense that Brittany Griner can't defend. And they're going to get good points. So I think it's going to be a great game for Jonquel Jones if she decides to not just stay down low. I think on defense, on the other hand, Stewie was all over the place, and Brittany Griner got way too many open looks. They can't let that happen again. And I think that kind of leads to my next point, which is it's not just going to be Jonquel Jones taking on Brittany Griner like it was, singular players trying to take on Brittany Griner on Seattle. Like Seattle tried Carolyn Swords, Seattle tried,
and Bird both disappeared.
Yeah. When Lloyd's gone and Bird's gone, it's whatever. But what I will say is that, the story of Connecticut, in my mind, is something that mainstream media doesn't want to cover because it's not a singular storyline. It's not just, yes, Jonquel Jones has had an amazing season and really a breakout season, but it's more than just that, It's Jasmine Thomas, Alex Bentley, who was there in the beginning. Things weren't working out that amazingly. Left for Euroball, came back, is now coming off the bench playing amazing. It's Lynetta Kaiser, who's had some issues, playing great role off the bench when she needs to. Courtney Williams, Brianna Jones, all these players, Alyssa Thomas, the Thomas twins, as I like to call them, or Shakina Strickland. All these players are coming in, and it's not, they've put the face of Jonquel Jones up there, but it's so much more than that. And I think, Kurt Miller said it best when the AP came out saying that he was their coach of the year, and he said, I had told my team this, and I've always told every team, and I've always told myself this, coaching awards are team awards. And to me, when a coach wins an award, it's saying, and especially when a coach wins an award, and the only other award that is won by a player on your team is most improved, it really says it's a team effort. It is a team effort, and that's why I see a united front, and I see them winning this game.
What do the Mercury have to do to combat this, broad, even offense?
Well, I think the thing that the Mercury have going for them right now is they need to do what they did last game. I think it's a very similar game plan as far as offensively. Involve other players. Brittany Griner needs to have a big game, but involve other players. Have, Leilani Mitchell score some points, get her open, get her involved. Diana Taurasi, I can say this knowing, without even speaking to their coach or anybody on their staff, that Diana Taurasi's weak game was not part of the game plan. Get her involved. Get other players involved, because if the Mercury want to win, and they know this through the history of their team, if they want to win, it was never a one-woman show. There was multiple people playing supporting roles that make it so, Brittany Griner can get points. Part of the reason Brittany Griner was getting open looks was because other players were getting hot last game, so people shifted. And something that I don't understand, and I heard this in another WNBA Mind podcast, I believe it was Eli Horowitz who said this. I just don't understand the Mercury, because when you have one player who's playing good and the rest of the team that's really struggling, why don't you just double team Brittany Griner and make someone else prove it? Obviously, Diana Taurasi is troublesome, but she hasn't been able to own it.
All right. So what can the Sun do to play their game and diffuse even another huge game by Griner?
To me, they don't even need to necessarily diffuse her. I think they will.
I think if they keep her under 20 points, that's diffusing.
All right, I'll give you that. All right, under her year average would be diffusing. I think the key is play aggressive ball against her early, We've seen that she struggles when she struggles, she's known to give up on games. And in a do or die, that's something that you want to see early on. Is she going to give up or not? Because why not give her that option of giving up early and run away? So I think you're going to see a lot of physical ball. She's going to be covered from baseline to baseline. The team I think Connecticut needs to focus on is themselves. They need to focus on playing Connecticut ball, scoring, and playing solid defense. Teamwork.
That's simple. And Kurt Miller knows how to get his team on one page and fight for the goal in this one game. I hate to say this as a proud product, born and raised in Connecticut. I'm going to take the Mercury. I think that they really showed a lot of people up. They played to their strengths, and they showed that their potential is still within reach for being a really strong team. And I think that from what we've seen so far, if both teams are playing their best, you have to hope that every team plays to their best game possible in a single elimination game. If both teams are playing their best, I like what I saw last time, and I'm going with the Mercury.
All right. I like that. I'm going to have to go against you on that one. I think Connecticut Sun win this one handedly by 12.